Hello everybody, my name is TotalNerdStatus 2.0, and today I'm going to be talking about Man of Steel, which, if you know me at all, you'll know that that's my favorite movie until 2016. So, I love the movie. It's my favorite movie, like I said, until 2016. I know Batman vs. Superman is gonna knock it just straight down to number 2, just slap it right in the face, like, get down there. But that being said, I do recognize some of the flaws that Man of Steel has, and I'll mention the flaws that other people have mentioned, and why I think that their opinions are false in my eyes, why I don't see the things they see as problems. And then I'll also say there are a couple of things in the movie that made me question. And I actually forgot to add one thing. I wrote it all down here because I wanted to make sure I got everything. So, let's just get right into it. First of all, I love how they told the story non-linearly. Like, they didn't start. I mean, of course, they started on Krypton. They had to, but they spent a lot of time on Krypton. It was kind of a mixed bag for me because it could go either way. I like how they showed the culture of Krypton and how they had, like, different animals than we do, and I love how they showed the red sun. Of course, it wasn't red. It couldn't actually be red. That wouldn't have quite worked in the world they were creating, but it was not even close to as bright as our sun, which is a nod to, Superman's whole mythos behind the red sun not giving him as much power as the yellow sun. So they had to start on Krypton, but then instead of them sending him off to Earth and then straight going from him landing on Earth to being found by the Kents and then going through his whole childhood, I love the fact that they just, like, right before they, by the way, this video was spoiler filled, so if you haven't seen Man of Steel, first of all, shame on you, and second of all, you might want to click out of the video, because I will be talking about the movie in pretty hardcore detail. So, as soon as the spaceship with Clark in it hits Earth, or right before it does, it just switches straight to him finding, like, as an adult, having all these odd jobs. That brings me to my first point. I've heard people call him a hobo Superman, because he has a beard and he's wearing all these, like, odd clothings, and he has all these odd jobs. I actually didn't see that as a problem with the movie. I saw that as a way of saying that he doesn't know his place in the world. He's trying out all these different jobs as, like, not really a bartender, but he worked in a bar, that he tried that out, and that didn't quite work, and then he tried to be a fisherman, I guess, or that's the first time you see him when he saves people from that oil tanker, and I'm guessing after that he didn't quite show up to work for a while, if at all, for that job. But anyway, so he has all these odd jobs, and a lot of people didn't like that, or some people that I've talked to don't like that. I actually do, because it shows that he doesn't know his place in the world, and so just like any other human, he's trying all these different jobs to see which really he connects with, which of course he doesn't connect with them at all. And occasionally he would see something, like he saw that school bus coming back from the oil tanker. He sees a school bus, and it takes him back to that moment in childhood where he showed off his powers and was feared by all the other kids at school and their parents. And it goes back, like, just before he introduces himself to be arrested by the military. He sees he's in the church, and he remembers back to when his dad told him, whatever man you want to grow up to be, good character or bad, you're going to change the world. And it's just, I like that, because it doesn't show his whole childhood, and it doesn't need to. It just needed to do little flashbacks, which is exactly what it did, because it gave you, it showed all of his problems as the kid. It showed that he was bullied, he was harassed, and it also showed that he couldn't control his powers. The very first flashback we see is when he's at school, and his X-ray vision and his heat vision goes, and he can't... Cleo, what are you doing? He can't control it. He can't control it, and so, I love that aspect, because they didn't spend 45 minutes to an hour pointlessly showing every single step in his childhood. They just showed the main points, where he was learning life lessons that he will carry on with him as he becomes Superman. The other thing that other people saw as a problem that I didn't was the fact that Superman's suit was found in a random 20,000-year-old scout ship. Now, a lot of people say, how did the suit get in the scout ship? No. Okay? If the Kryptonians had technology, when Superman was born, the kind of technology where you could look through or look into a screen and have your face projected and be able to see what's going on the other side of the screen and move around, and they had all that fancy technology. How could they not have had technology to be able to teleport certain versions of that costume to, as soon as they knew they were going to have a baby, Jor-El probably put together a bunch of different suits of that same kind, and then once he found the suit that looked the most iconic, of course, then he probably made versions of that suit or cloned that suit with the advanced Kryptonian technology and put it in all these different scout ships, or teleported it to 20,000-year-old scout ships that he might find on the planet he's sending him to. That made so much sense to me, and I guess since they didn't say that out loud in the film, then they didn't, a lot of people just didn't understand it, but I understood it perfectly. Not to mention, they had a bunch of other outposts on other planets, like the scout ship that they were inhabiting. Of course, they'd stopped inhabiting them thousands of years before, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have teleported a clone of that costume to one of those places, like the 20,000-year-old scout ship. So that just made sense to me, and I don't understand why why nobody else understood that. Also, I didn't know this until a few weeks ago, but supposedly the cape in Man of Steel is like 95% CG. which I would just like to say, that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, because you got Superman, who's, this terraforming machine is blocking out the sun, so he's weak, and at the same time, he's so powerful, he is able to stand, let alone fly against 10 times the amount of gravity that Earth has, because Krypton has literally 10 times the amount of gravity as Earth. So that terraforming machine is dropping 10 times Earth's gravity right on top of Superman, and he is still able to stand and fly against with all the might it takes to put a hole through that ship, no less. But I just thought that was an amazing moment, because that shows how powerful Superman can be, and that's not even at his best. That was his first fight. Minus the Smallville fight. But anyway, another thing I would like to touch on before I go to something that actually I have a problem with. The only thing that I actually have a problem with, well, there's a couple. Anyway, Cleopatra, what are you doing? Anyway, a lot of people, I've had people asking me, how is Superman able to put holes in Kryptonian tech when it's as powerful as him? It'd like be me punching a brick wall. It shouldn't do anything. Here's the thing, though. Superman in Earth's atmosphere, first of all, Earth's atmosphere is a lot weaker than Krypton's, and Superman is strong. I mean, of course he's strong, but when you bring Kryptonian tech into the Earth's atmosphere, it's like bringing... I don't even know how to compare this. It's, you're just bringing down the overall, well, no, okay, let me rephrase that. So, Earth's atmosphere is a lot lighter, so that would actually make Kryptonian tech heavier and more difficult to, destroy in Earth's atmosphere, because it shows how powerful it is. But Kryptonian tech is as powerful as it is because it was built beneath a red sun on Krypton. Even if 1,000 years prior, it was still a red sun. So, when you bring that red sun material onto Earth, and Superman has the yellow sun radiation all over his body, Jor-El even said to him himself, it strengthens your skin and muscles and senses and everything because it's a yellow sun. It's probably 1,000 times more powerful radiation than a red sun. So Superman is 1,000 times more strong than the Kryptonian tech that was used to build the terraforming machine. So that's how he was able to put holes in it, because he's much more powerful, because his cells were strengthened by the yellow sun. It just gave him a lot more power to, which means he was able to put holes in Kryptonian ships, and that's why. Now, here is something that I actually can admit is a problem with Man of Steel. It was the black hole. I understand, it makes sense why the black hole would be formed, but the black hole, I mean, first of all, that's not even what would happen if a black hole was formed. But I'm going to look past that because it's a movie. But I will say that Lois Lane should have been at least sucked towards that black hole, because she just straight up falls away from it, and then it zooms in on her falling towards Earth, and then cars and pieces of buildings and cars are being flung up and sucked into the black hole, and then by the time Superman gets to her, he's being pulled into the black hole, and he has to fly with all his might to get away from it. That's the one thing that I will give credit to people who make that argument. I will give credit to people who make that argument, because that doesn't make sense to me either. Lois Lane should have been sucked into the black hole, or at least sucked towards it, and then Superman, would have to be right next to the black hole. But the fact that she fell past thousands of pounds of equipment that was being sucked into the black hole, that just didn't make sense. So I will admit that's one thing in the movie that didn't work for me. But the next thing is destruction. A lot of people are saying too much destruction. Superman let a lot of innocent people die. Here's the thing. Yes, while that is true, Zack Snyder is trying to put Superman in a modern world. Not the world that he was created in, where it's all sugar plums and lollipops and the American dream, where Superman can save the entire city and not kill the villain. I'll get to that here in a minute, actually. But, the destruction happened for a reason, because he was setting Superman in a modern world that has real consequences. When you have a being that powerful who doesn't quite know how to control his power, there's going to be some major destruction. And I love how Zack Snyder, he didn't bring it down at all. People died from that terraforming machine. My mother tried to make the argument that the terraforming machine was... It never picked any people. You never saw anybody be picked up by the terraforming machine and get slapped down. You never saw anyone get crushed. But then I made her watch it again, and yes, in fact, the first time the terraforming machine goes up, you see little bodies in there, along with cars and things like that. And then it even zooms in at people running through the street on cars, and you see them, well, you don't see them get crushed, but you see them fall, and then the thing crushes all the cars around them. So yes, people die. And I actually loved that aspect, because it shows the real consequences of a real world with that powerful of tech and beings. I thought it was genius, because it shows that even Superman can't save everyone, and that it just brings such a dark tone. And a lot of people hated that dark tone because they're so used to Christopher Reeve's Superman. I'm like, get over it. This is the new age of superheroes. You're trying to put them in a modern world, and even the Avengers didn't go as far as to kill a lot of their civilians. I mean, I'll make a video in the future where I talk about all my problems with the Avengers. Don't worry about that. But that being said, Man of Steel is put in a modern world. I've said lots of times, it shows that you can't save everyone and still be considered a hero. Now, of course, there's been rumors going around for a long time that Superman, for part of Batman vs. Superman, has to answer for his crimes of destruction and things like that to Metropolis. And I love that aspect, because it shows consequences. You can't just destroy half of a huge city and just fly away like everything's okay. There's gonna be people in Metropolis who thinks he's a hero because he did end up saving the world. A lot of people say he didn't save anyone in this movie. He did save that one guy who fell out of the chopper during the Smallville fight. He straight up flew, saved him, set him down, and asked him, "Hey, you okay?" That's not saving people. And he saved pretty much everyone on Earth, except for, of course, probably hundreds of thousands of people that died from the destruction. That being said, he did save the rest of the world by stopping that terraforming machine and killing Zod, which, again, I will get to in a minute. So, there's going to be people in Metropolis who thinks he's a hero because he saved the Earth, and there's going to be people who are on strike against Superman because of all the destruction, and I love that aspect, because that's a real modern world thing. If a being like Superman came to Earth and destroyed half a city, that's exactly how it would be dealt with in today's modern society. So I love the destruction. I love the fact that he let innocent people die, because that's just what would happen in a modern world, even with Superman in it. That's just what would happen, and it would have consequences, and I loved it, because it brought a darker tone, which DC needs, and is having, and I can't wait to see it. Now, as far as killing General Zod, a lot of people said, okay, Superman would never do that. Guys, this is Superman. This is the modern Superman, and he just did snap the main villain's neck right in front of you. First of all, he had to do it. There was no other way out of that. Even if he would have... I mean, that was his chance. I thought to myself, well, he could have just flown up with Zod, but then the fight just would have continued, and he would have eventually been put down back in that same position where Zod was about to kill an innocent family. The fight would have just kept going for ages. That was his one chance. He had his hands around, he had one arm, his head was right here, he had his arm around his neck. That was his one chance to just end it. And he took it. He seized it. And I love that because he was put in a situation where either the family dies or Zod dies. And like I said, even if he would have flown up in the air with Zod, the fight just would have continued. There was no way out of that. The fight would have continued, and he would have been put in the same position at some other part of Metropolis or on the other side of the world or whatever. That fight just would have kept going and kept going. That was Superman's chance to say, okay, here's what's going to happen. Either Zod's going to die or that innocent family is going to die. And of course, he's Superman, so he had to make that decision. He had to kill Zod. He had to kill him right then and there. There have been many moments in comic books and in recent DC movies like The Dark Knight where heroes have been forced to make difficult decisions. In The Dark Knight, Two-Face was about to kill an innocent child. James Gordon's innocent child. So Batman said, okay, I'm going to have to kill Two-Face. If I don't, this child is going to die. So he pushed Harvey Dent off of that building and killed him. That was a decision that Batman had to make. And this was a decision that Superman had to make in order to show how dedicated he is to the human race and that his morals are in check. People still argue, Superman would never kill. That's the Superman that you know. Zack Snyder and the producers have said multiple times, this is not the Superman you know and love. This is an introduction of Superman. This is his birth, parts of his childhood, the important parts of his childhood, getting the suit, and his first big fight. And then the movie ends with him basically saying, I'll be there for you. I'll be here waiting for something to happen again. That's the Superman. That's the introduction of Superman. I had a conversation with on one of my videos. I think it was my Batman vs Superman video. Somebody commented, and we had this great argument. Well, it wasn't even an argument. We just talked back and forth, saying that this was Superman's introduction. This is what I believe. This is a literal introduction. It's not like by the end of the movie he was the Superman we know and love. He still has to learn lessons. Zack Snyder wasn't trying to create the Superman we know and love in 2.5 hours. It just was not going to happen. Not straight from birth. So what I think he is doing is he is showing why Superman, the Superman that we know and love, would not have a no-kill rule. Because he has killed someone before, and he had to deal with it for the rest of his life. He had to deal with the fact that he killed General Zod. He had to deal with the fact that he himself, with his bare hands, killed the last person that he knows of his Kryptonian race. That was the last person that he connected with on a biological level, as far as, being back to Krypton. He killed him. He took his life, and he had to deal with that for the rest of his life. And that's why he doesn't have a no-kill rule. And I love that, because it really hits you, and it says, oh, wow, okay. So that's why he doesn't have a no-kill rule. That's what it did for me. It wasn't, I'll admit, it did shock me. But immediately after, I said, okay, that's an introduction. As the movies go on, during Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, the solo Superman sequel, everything like that, Superman is going to learn more and more lessons like this. He's going to learn things, and his morals are going to change and become more and more pure, and we're going to see him turn into the Superman that we know and love. And that's exactly what I want to see. We've never seen that before, to my knowledge. It's always just started like, oh, this is Superman. He's an alien from another planet, and he's here to save us all. That's all you need to know. Now, Zack Snyder has the chance, and he's taking it to start from the birth and show us the evolution of Superman. From his birth, learning all these life lessons through this movie and all the future ones, and we're going to see him turn into the Superman that we know and love. And I absolutely love that. So overall, I only had one problem with this movie. And that was the black hole not sucking Lois in. That was the only problem I had with this movie. The rest I loved. I understood why it had to be done, why it was done, and why it was so much darker. It's an introduction to the whole DC universe and Superman's moral things. Sorry if I keep looking up here. I have a Superman statue that I'm looking at. But yeah, so that's the only problem I had with the movie. The only legitimate problem that I cannot justify as to why they did it is Lois not being sucked into the black hole and falling to the earth when cars and stuff were being sucked up. That's the only thing I cannot justify. Everything else, I understood why, and I thought it made perfect sense, and I loved it. One last thing I want to touch on right now. As far as Batman vs. Superman, today is the 6th. Jupiter Ascending came out today. There was a, let me just check on YouTube really quick while I do this. There was a rumor that Batman vs. Superman, the trailer, okay, I can't check right now, would be released today with Jupiter Ascending. Now, we've all heard lies before. There was the first lie with The Hobbit, where it was confirmed that the Batman vs. Superman trailer would come out with The Hobbit Battle of the Five Armies. That didn't happen. And then those turned into rumors of it coming out on Christmas Day. That didn't happen. And then there were rumors, that turned into rumors of New Year's. That didn't happen. Then that turned into rumors of Super Bowl. That didn't happen. Now we have this rumor. Supposedly confirmed. Which it is not. Get one thing straight. This is not confirmed. At all. Straight up rumor. That it would be attached to Jupiter Ascending. Now, of course, if it came out with Jupiter Ascending, it would be at least a crappy cell phone version, cell phone video file on YouTube right now. I checked a lot. I checked this morning when I got up. I went on YouTube everywhere before leaving for college. I came, even when I was at college, like during breaks, I checked everywhere. There is nothing. I came right back here like half an hour ago or something, maybe an hour, and checked it thoroughly. There is nothing there. So if it would have come out with the Jupiter Ascending, with the movie, it would be all over the place right now. Even if it's a crappy version, it would be all over the place. So that didn't happen. Now, oh my god. I went online and searched up, not the trailer, but rumors of the trailer. And of course, people who reported that it was confirmed for Jupiter Ascending are saying it is still confirmed for today, but there's a timer on it, apparently, that ends at 7 o'clock tonight. I don't know what that means, honestly. Supposedly, the Man of Steel teaser trailer, the very first one, had a timer on it. I didn't know about this. I don't even know if it's a thing. But supposedly the timer for the trailer ends at 7 o'clock tonight, meaning that it is confirmed that the trailer will be released at 7 o'clock tonight all over the internet. If that is true, which I have a feeling it's not. Now, keep in mind, I want to see this trailer really bad. This was the only thing I was looking forward to for quite a while. I've always been a nerd, but I've been dying to see this trailer, and I know you guys probably have too if you're watching this, but I want to see it so bad. And hearing all these different rumors that are supposedly confirmed and having them turned out to be false, it ruins it, honestly. If it's not legitimately confirmed by Warner Brothers, don't even put the word confirmed in the title. Say rumor. Don't put confirmed and then exclamation point and question mark. Don't do that! Because it's not. You know it's not. You're just trying to sell your story. Don't do that. You know for a fact it's not confirmed, so don't use the word confirmed. Say rumor. My God. Please, do us all a favor. Have accurate information. Because you're killing us. And you're loving it. So anyway, supposedly it'll come out at 7 o'clock tonight. If that is true, I will make a video of me reacting to watching it. Not a review video. I'll have a review video, or maybe I'll just do a review right after watching it, 5 times. But I will make a video of me watching it and do a reaction video. and then I'll do a review. But I have a strong feeling that it's just not going to happen. I really do want to see it, but all these rumors is just throwing it off. And we did get a picture of Zack Snyder, I think it was yesterday or the day before, on the Batman vs. Superman set. It's not a very big picture. It's only like 600 by something. It's a cool photo, don't get me wrong, but it's not very big, so I can't use it as a wallpaper. That's what ticks me off. But if that's any indication of some footage being released soon, I would think so. Because we haven't had another picture since, I don't think since the Wonder Woman, right? At Comic-Con. The Batman and the Wonder Woman pictures are the last official pictures that we've gotten. I mean, we had those pictures from Hong Kong of the supposed artwork poster, but those weren't officially released from Zack Snyder or the studio. The last ones, I think, were the Batman Ben Affleck one from Comic-Con and Wonder Woman. So, I mean, why would they release a Zack Snyder photo now? Just because it's been so long and they wanted to hype it up again? Or to say, hey, here's a tease, so maybe that indicates there's a teaser coming soon. I don't know, but it would be my guess. I hope it's coming soon. The Man of Steel teaser came out a year before Man of Steel, right? And it had two separate versions of the trailer. It had the trailer with the voiceover of Jor-El and then the voiceover of Jonathan Kent. And that came out a year before. And the movie's coming out March 25th next year, 2016. So today's the 6th of February. So if they're coming out a year before, this would be a little early. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just saying it's not quite a year yet. So this could be completely wrong and we might get something next month. Oh, I can't wait another month. I can't do it, guys. I can't wait another freaking month. Anyway, it would be cool if they did kind of like what they did with Man of Steel and had two different trailers or showed the same footage like they did with the Man of Steel, but have different voiceovers. Like one trailer is Superman's voiceover saying about, like Film Junkie had an idea of one of Superman stating why he needs to take down Batman, and then another trailer with the same footage maybe of showing or having Batman's voiceover, Ben Affleck's Batman voice, voicing over why he needs to take down Superman. And I just think that would be awesome. Sure, I'm not the only one, but if it comes out tonight, I will do a reaction video. If it doesn't, I'm not going to put a video up saying, hey guys, it didn't do anything, because you probably know that if I didn't put up a reaction video. So anyway, that's my opinion on Man of Steel. It's very biased, and I realize this. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. I know there probably aren't a lot of people on this planet who think it's as good as I think it was, but that's my opinion. You are entitled to your own opinion, of course. I hope that trailer drops. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. If it does, woo. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. My name is TotalNerdStatus 2.0.